Netflix or Amazon, Google, etc. It's about 4% of the total internet content. The deep web is over 90%, and this includes government resources, academic information, medical records, etc. It's not just easily publicly accessible. And then you have the dark web, which is 6%. It's more than the World Wide Web, which is 4%. It's encrypted networks that you have to have special software to access. And it consists of stolen and illegal information, illegal pornography, drug trafficking, and other illegal sites. And just because you need special software doesn't mean that it's hard to get to. Go Google it. Go download and find a tool to access the dark web. It's not hard. I like to think of the dark web as being like Amazon for the bad guys. Where they buy and sell stuff. And speaking of the dark web, let's go over here. So, you're aware that there are these very large data breaches, right? So, LinkedIn. If I'm using jgrace at NetEffect with the password of puppies, and that gets stolen by a giant, massive LinkedIn breach, that's for sale on the dark web. So I have a dark web breach assessment that I'm going to show you. And so I don't incriminate anybody in this room, this is our twin company on the East Coast. We have no relation to each other. They're called NetEffect Technologies. They're in North Carolina. Same colors as us. We'll occasionally get each other's clients calling us. So here, prior to starting, I ran a dark web breach report. So here at the very top, you can see A. Dowling. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the password. So perfect, here we go. So awood at any-t.com during a large LinkedIn breach. His or her password was captured, Henderson 0914. That's for sale on the dark web.
Now you can log in to his account.
Okay?
Emails.
Hmm?
Back to a few.
So let's see, let's go through, look, there's a bunch of them in here. Okay, so here, dw at ne-t.com. Here's one, exigent, okay, see at the top? Now, this one you can't read because it's encoded, but I can go to a site like this, crackstation.net, and it essentially has a library of these hashed passwords. And watch this. There we go. There's his password. So it tells me this hash, its type of encryption is MD5 and its password is Brandon. Pretty cool, huh? So I can keep going through here. I can see that's a good one. That P0LA Po Llama Lu 612. That's a good one, but it's for sale. Look at all these really simple passwords. NetEffect, bad user.
At least it's not password one.
True. So that is an example of a dark web breach assessment to see what credentials that you have are for sale on the dark web. Now, to be super clear of the implication, if I have jgrace at neteffect.com with a password of puppies, okay, and I'm still using that username and password combination, which, to be honest, lots of folks do, They use the same username and password for all kinds of accounts. That's the implication, okay? I don't so much care about somebody compromising my LinkedIn account. It would be annoying. But if that's the same username and password I use to get onto my work network, my email, my banking, that's a big problem. Now I'm going to show you, this is a very new and very common type of email threat that I get a lot of questions on lately. So here you can see it's very recent, it's just last November. Threat to your security, Dina at neteffect-it.com has been compromised. And look, they're showing her password, Nunya880. She had used this at some point in time, and that username password is for sale in the dark web. They're using her password just as a way to make this email more compelling and more believable. Goes on to say, yeah, I saw what you're doing, I recorded you on porn websites, pay me $779 or I will email what you've done to all of your contacts. So that's a real interesting tie-in, and that's real recent that they're using, all they're doing is running a dark web scan and finding username password combination. Does that make sense?
And they found the passwords from a breached website.
Right, so let's say Dina had used this on LinkedIn, right? So this is a total scam. They haven't been recording her behavior, but because they have an actual password that she used at one point in time, it makes it much, much more believable.
But where'd they get that password from?
Just like I did it,
Yeah.
just there. They used a tool like I just did.
The breach assessment?
Yeah.
They have websites like haveibeenpwned.com. You can just type in
Yep,
an email
that's a
address
good
and
one.
they'll give you all your
Yep.
places that it's ever been breached.
Yep.
What's it called?
Have I been PWND?
ED. Yep.
Pwned.
Yep.
Is there a reason they're using such random amounts, like $779, or like what I would consider lower amounts? Like, do they know this person can only afford to give that much? Or they just take a guess?
They're just casting lines out there.
If it's fraud, the companies will pay that amount because it's just a small amount. Once it gets to a certain amount, then that's a higher sort of security level. And the company, let's say the bank, will investigate it more.
Okay.
For $700,
They're not.
they'll get
So
their
we can run a
investigation.
self-check on ourselves.
Yes.
The good thing about that is I got that exact email. I knew it was,
Did you
you
pay
know,
it?
phishing. No, no.
Good.
And, but it called my attention to changing passwords on where I knew where they got that password
Yep.
from. So
Yep.
I went and changed all the
Perfect.
passwords.
Perfect. Okay, so we're coming to the end of what it is and how it works. We're about to leap into taking action. So, how does cybercrime work? In really simple terms, social engineering is the easiest. If I say, give me your wallet, well, give you a pig. If I say, give me your wallet, or if I say, give me your password, that's really easy. Okay, social engineering is when I trick you into giving me access. Exploits. Exploits are a piece of software or a sequence of commands that takes advantage of a vulnerability causing unanticipated behavior, typically the end result being taking control of your computer. So for cyber criminals, an exploit is a happy accident. So computer systems are incredibly complex. Not only is the operating system complex, but you have a multitude of programs that you can install. The programs in the operating systems are in lots and lots of different languages. Therefore, there is no way to anticipate every single permutation of commands, sequences, etc. that can be performed on a computer. And so the happy accident is, oh, hey, look, this series of commands, it's an exploit. Hey, well, look, I can take control of that computer with that exploit. Does that make sense? The exploit? And then onion routing. This is a big one. So with onion routing, the bad guys and girls encapsulate data in layers of encryption like an onion, and they transmit it through a series of onion routers. So, and you can Google onion routers, it's pretty easy to find these services. So if I'm sending a message to Ellie, and I have 5 onion routers between me and her, each router only knows about the one immediately before and then one immediately after. Okay, so it's like kind of a hot potato, it's handed off each time. When it gets to Ellie, by using onion routing, I can make it seem like I'm coming from any place in the world. It's kind of like that. So the sender remains anonymous because each intermediary knows only the location immediately preceding and immediately following. Make sense? This is really important. Not so much for your security today, but this is something that's really, really concerning. 5G services are coming in 2020. It's expected to be 100 times faster than 4G and will dramatically accelerate the growth of the Internet of Things. Everything's going to be connected to the Internet. It's going to accelerate the growth of automation, smart cities, and driverless cars. It's also going to make machine learning and artificial intelligence very, very common. Okay? The U.S. National Security Council sees 5G as very transformative. They said that it will be as transformative as the Gutenberg press. Huawei is the world's largest telecom equipment supplier. The American government worries that Huawei, if they are the chip manufacturer for 5G, that they will inject a backdoor that will allow them to capture via 5G reams of data that's sent back to Beijing. This is you saw the person in Canada, right? They're arrested or detained. This is all about 5G.
I think that's legitimately concerned.
Very.
What about that router company? They had a backdoor key to get into their products.
Sorry, say again?
There's this router company, I forget which brand. They actually had a backdoor key to get into their own routers.
Yep. So this is a huge, huge world, global, political concern that you're going to see a lot of discussion and conflict, frankly. I have a friend who works for the federal government, and we're talking a little bit about this, and he says inside the federal government, all of the chipsets in every single piece of equipment that they use, none of it's made by Huawei. They won't allow it. Okay, taking action. Any questions before we go into that? Strengthening your defenses. From an IT standpoint, this is how we view IT security. It's an ongoing process, never stops. It's best, it has to be approached in layers of defense. User awareness being the single best value, and breaches are impossible to defend against 100%. All you can do is mitigate your risk. Does that make sense? And this is how you mitigate your risk. A firewall. A good, solid Fortinet firewall that is retrieving updates from Fortinet labs to continually protect you from the latest exploits. Endpoint security, that's your antivirus, anti-malware software. User awareness, 95% of all breaches are due to user error. 95%, all of them. Good data backups, intelligent oversight. So just simply putting some level of intelligent thought, like clearly you've thought about your backup hard drive not being on and connected all the time. Just putting some thought into it. Having good processes. So for instance, when we start working with a new business client, we find that there are usually dozens, in some cases hundreds, of user accounts that haven't logged in more than 30 days. To me, that strongly suggests that there is no process whereby when an employee leaves, HR says to IT, hey, you gotta disable this account. Having a disaster recovery plan so that you know what you'll do in advance of a disaster, and carrying cyber liability insurance. Anybody here have cyber liability insurance or know what it is? What is it?
No, it protects me from in several different areas, but basically if somebody accesses and gets my client records, they can it'll pay to rebuild it.
Correct. So it will, firewall sucks. Bah. So, cyber liability insurance. It will kick in and help with the expenses to recover from this. With the medical client that I talked about, data backups, everything encrypted, $40,000. If they had cyber liability insurance, I'm not sure if they did or not, it would compensate not only for that, but if they had to notify their patients, it would help them with that giant expense. And then we have a couple of our favorite add-on layers of defense. There's DNS protection. So DNS is when you go to a website, you're not connecting directly to google.com. You're connecting to an IP address. DNS translates Google to a unique IP address. With a DNS filter, so with our fully managed clients, we run all of their DNS requests through a filter. So as malicious sites are discovered, if a person tries to go to maliciousite.com, whether typing it in or if they click on something that's infected